Amidst all the lockdowns and shutdowns of 2020, Hasbro moved their PulseCon online last year. And as part of the event, they unveiled a few exclusive items. And there was a surprise reveal, for me at least, for the Marvel Legends line, which was the Hellfire Club. The Hellfire Club has been a long-term adversaries of the X-Men, dating all the way back to the 1970s and the famous Chris Claremont run, and of course tied into the Dark Phoenix saga, and they've been recurring villains ever since. However, this is the Hellfire Club as they originally envisioned all the way back in the 1970s, and it's fantastic to have these figures in the lineup at long last. So the first thing to talk about is the packaging, because I think Hasbro have done just an incredible job of the packaging. They've made it so collector friendly and so appealing that we really need to talk about it. So you'll notice that of course it is a simple black box, however there is nice little detailing there with the raised shiny detailing that is the gates. And as you can see, essentially what we're looking at is the gates to the Hellfire Club. On the reverse of the packaging, we can see black and white photos of the 4 action figures, each contained within a frame to make it look like it is an actual portrait that you would see on the walls of the club. And I think this is a really nice touch, and there's a little bit of a bio there at the bottom as well, which is really cool. Now when we slide off the bottom outer sleeve, you can see that this is actually velcroed together and that the gates actually open. So it is a proper gatefold opening box here, and it's wonderful because underneath there's a nice little portrait here which is illustrated of the inner circle, and I think this just looks fantastic. And this is like a cover plate before the actual figures, and what a lot of effort's gone into this, and it just looks fantastic. I love this to bits. I think it's so collector friendly, it's wonderful for display, and I really wish Hasbro would do more of this. It feels deluxe, it feels very special, and it helps justify the extra expense that goes with these exclusive sets. And on either side of the interior panels we actually have some more art and a bio about each character as well. Again, lovely extra touch, fantastically rendered, and just makes this whole packaging just a lot more collector friendly and very displayable and just really fun to have in the collection. And when we hinge the inner panel outwards, we can see the action figures beneath. And here they are, and you can see even behind the figures again, there is that attention to detail. There's painted a lovely backdrop there of actually recreating the interior of the Hellfire Club, so we can see obviously lots of photo frames, the fireplace. They've just done a tremendous job, and you can see what a lot of thought has gone into this packaging. We can see each of the figures nicely presented, and of course all their accessories around them, but with that lovely painted backdrop. But that's not all, because on the reverse of the interior panel there is actually a hidden note. So you can take this envelope and open it up, and there's a letter inside. And this is just a lovely little touch. It's just an extra little detail here that just makes the set pop. So moving on to the figures themselves, the same love and attention has been passed on to the figures. So it is the standard Marvel Legends mold that we've come to see a few times across the years, but obviously it's been remolded with the plastic pieces around the chest there to create a brand new look, which of course is that sort of Victorian frock coat, and it looks brilliant. The cravat and the buckle shoes are brand new pieces that we've not seen before, and in fact some of these head sculpts and these characters are brand new. We've never seen them released in the Marvel Legends line before. The paint apps are very neatly applied, there's no smudging there over the buckle onto the shoe, which looks fantastic, and of course the shoe and the stockings are 2 separate pieces, so there's no bleed there whatsoever either. The central frock coat and waistcoat are all one rubber piece, which has obviously been slid over the standard Marvel Legends body. But it's nicely rendered, it's well painted, and there's some nice detailing from the buttons, etc. So this looks really good. And we can see they've also adapted the sleeves there to create those cuffs. So again, these have been slid over the usual arm piece that we see. But it looks fantastic, and I've got no complaints for this whatsoever. Both Shaw and Pierce have the exact same bodies, they've just been repainted and have different head molds. So I'll just go through the articulation for Shaw here. His head does spin 360 degrees. There is a hinge for him to look up and down, but sadly because of the quite hard plastic neck piece there, he can't look up and down. Now the collar is a soft rubber, so that isn't hinging the articulation at all, which is good to know. Now he does have ball jointed shoulders. Again, that piece there where the shoulder meets the chest is soft rubber, so it doesn't hinge that ball joint, which is great. He's got the bicep swivel and of course the double jointed elbow as well. Now again, he does have the swivel wrist, so that can move all the way around, and it should be able to hinge, but again, because of those cuffs there, which is a fairly hard plastic, it's not going to give, so he's not really going to be able to do anything with it particularly, apart from very slight movements. The legs are the standard that we've come to know and love from Marvel Legends, so of course they have that ball jointed hip there so they can kick out to the sides, they can kick forward, they swivel at the thigh, which is great. Of course he has the double jointed knees so he can kick his legs back a good distance there as well. And there's also a calf swivel, which leads, of course, ultimately to the ankle pivot at the bottom there, which again we've seen many times, and it works really well here, very effective. There's no hindrance to that joint whatsoever. And next up we have the White Queen. This is really quite an exciting release because this is the first time we've had the classic White Queen look, and it's important because, believe it or not, this was pretty much the definitive look for the White Queen for about 20 years. I don't think they ever changed it in all that time. Obviously since then they've revamped the character many times, just had lots of different outfits, but this was a really popular and long-standing vision of the character. And I think they've done an absolutely fantastic job. Yes, it's very light in terms of the detailing, like there are no paint apps on the body whatsoever, so it is just a pure plastic white, but the overall look is very impressive. I think the head sculpt is absolutely perfect. We have seen this before, but obviously the paint apps around the eyes are definitely different, and I just think this looks amazing. Like, this is really spot on. There's lots of paint wash going on in the hair there, so it's a little bit dark at the bottom, and yeah, they've done a really nice job of applying those apps, so well done. Likewise, I always think it's nice that they've given that cloak there, and they've actually put a little bit of detailing on the fur collar and the blue of that gemstone that holds it together. I think that's nice, really well done. Now, the articulation is exactly the same for the White Queen as it is for the Black Queen. The only difference, of course, is the head sculpts and the cloaks. Now, the head is on a ball joint, so it can look up and down, it can swivel 360 degrees, and there's a fantastic range of motion there. Now, for the White Queen, things get a bit more tricky at this point when it comes to articulation, because that cloak there is a harder plastic and it's very restrictive. So really, if you want to pose her and use her arms, you're going to have to take that cloak off, which you can do by popping the head off and then sliding the cloak off, no problem. Now, she does have the ball jointed shoulders, she's got obviously the swivel at the elbow, and of course it is single jointed elbow as well, which can bend to 90 degrees. The wrist, of course, spins 360 degrees right the way around, but also is hinged so it can pop in and out as well. So fantastic range of motion, you couldn't ask for more there. There is a ball joint in the diaphragm there, so you can rotate it all the way around if you wanted to. There's a little bit of give, so it does kind of move up and down slightly, and it acts as a little bit of a pivot, allowing the body to bend backwards and forwards as well. We also have the familiar hip joint, so the legs can kick out to the side, they can kick a really good distance forwards, and of course there is also the thigh swivel as well. The knees are double jointed, so of course they can go backwards there, and of course we also have the ankle pivot. So again, the feet can rock from side to side and they can go up and down as well on that hinge. I should mention though, if you just look at the mould of this, you can see that obviously that is a very high heel, and this does not support the figure standing up virtually at all. You're going to need to use the peg hole at the bottom there and put it on a stand to get it into any kind of position, because it just won't happen otherwise. Here we have Pierce, and as I said before, this is basically a straight duplicate of the Shaw figure. It's exactly the same mould, the only difference of course is the colour scheme and the head sculpt. But, you know, it's a great figure, and yeah, it looks really good and brings that character to life, so they've done a fantastic job. Likewise, the Black Queen, or Jean Grey, is exactly the same body mould that we saw with the White Queen. It's just painted black instead of white. Only the head sculpt is different, and of course collar around her neck, which is a separate piece, is unique to this piece as well. The cloak is different, it's a different shape, and of course it has the rose there rather than a jewel. And because this cloak is differently moulded, it is actually a better fit for this figure because it actually allows the articulation. So if you want, you can actually move the figure's arms there, and it pushes the cape back. It might not look great, but you can move the figure within this mould, which is really good. You didn't have the same flexibility in the White Queen. But the fun doesn't end with the figures, because there is a host of accessories as well. We have the Black Queen's whip, we have a Selena head, we have a Hellfire Club book, we have a Wolverine mask, a Magneto helmet, a large energy weapon, a small energy weapon, more like a pistol, 2 extra pair of hands for the Black Queen, 2 closed fists for the White Queen, 2 closed fists for Shaw, and 2 mechanical hands for Pierce. So there's actually quite a lot here to keep these figures interesting and fresh, and, you know, create a lot of different dynamic poses, and it really does feel that this set is absolutely jam-packed with extras to keep it interesting. And again, everything that is in here just smacks of love and attention to detail. Obviously Shaw's book there, having the actual inscriptions in the inside with some diagrams, really nice touch. And yeah, it just feels very thoughtful, and it just feels like this has been given a lot of love and attention, really, and that's what we love to see as collectors. Now last year, Hasbro must have had the Hellfire Club on the brain because they also released the Hellfire Club Guard as an online exclusive. This guy was released to be an army builder, and it's only right, I think, that we put him with the Hellfire Club. So here he is out of his box, and again we can see that this is obviously one of the familiar molds that we've seen before in a Marvel Legends line, but it is very nicely painted. The head sculpt is pretty excellent, to be honest. It's actually quite creepy. They've added the faceplate over the face of the figure, so the eyes look like they're peering through that mask. And he also comes with some accessories too. He has a pistol and also a automatic shotgun or assault rifle. I actually can't tell what it's meant to be. And he holds them both perfectly. He has the trigger finger there on the right hand, so you can use either weapon in that hand, and it looks fantastic. Yeah, just a really, really cool looking figure, quite creepy looking, but very, very colourful and interesting, and yeah, perfect, absolutely perfect for army building. But it seems like Hasbro aren't finished there, because obviously the recently announced Wolverine Amazon exclusive set has Mastermind packed in. Again, we can see that this is utilising the same body as Shaw and Pierce and comes with 2 different heads. So this is one to look out for and fill out that Hellfire Club team. So there you have it, there is the Hellfire Club. For me, this set is an absolute winner. You can just see how much love and attention has gone into this, whether it's the absolute beautiful packaging that they've put together, the design and the look and the feel of the characters is wonderful, and it really feels like they've come off the comic book page, which is what we all want to see. And I just love that they're jam-packed with accessories, just make them dynamic and interesting and just make them really fun. Now, the set was quite expensive upon release, and I can only imagine that it will appreciate in value as time goes on, so it might get trickier and more expensive to find one. But for me, I do absolutely think that this one is worth your money. We've seen a lot of exclusive sets, whether it's with Amazon or various retailers over the years, and some of them have been hit and miss to say the least. However, I have to say, for me, this is a true 5-star set, and I think, you know, if you're a fan of the X-Men or this particular era, then it is well worth investing in, because they've just done such a wonderful job of giving these characters the care and love that they deserve, and that comic book fans really appreciate. I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, please do give it a like, and remember to subscribe, as I will be posting more videos soon.